If your hair has gone thin, soft, or see-through at the crown after 60, stop what you're doing right now. Because there's a good chance you're doing the exact same 3 things to your hair every single morning that are making it look older, flatter, and thinner than it actually is. And nobody told you. Not your hairdresser. Not your favorite influencer. Not even your mirror, because your mirror doesn't know what you looked like from the back an hour ago. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at your hairbrush a little differently. And trust me, ladies who've watched this all the way through have told me it changed how they part their hair forever. Hello my gorgeous woman, and welcome back to Grace Beyond 60, the place where we prove week after week that 60 is not a slowing down, it's a glow up. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the family. Pull up a chair, you are exactly where you belong. And if you're one of my regulars, hello again my dear, I've missed your face in this comment section. Before we dive in, do me one small favor. Hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell beside it. Not for me, but for you because I post real, practical, no-fluff style tips for women over 60 every single week. And I would hate for you to miss the next one. Okay, let's talk about that fine hair of yours. The old part mistake. Let's start with something almost every woman over 60 has done for the last 20 years without even thinking about it. That same middle part, or that same side part, day after day, year after year. It feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels like you. But here's what nobody explains to you. When hair thins with age, it thins fastest right along the part line, because that's the section getting the most daily stress, oil buildup, and sun exposure. So that same old part isn't just a style anymore, it's actually advertising the thinnest part of your scalp to everyone who looks at you, every single day, without you even realizing it. Think about it this way. If you walked the exact same path across your lawn every single day for 20 years, that grass would eventually wear down to bare dirt, while the grass just an inch to the left stayed thick and green. Your scalp works the same way. The part line is your worn path, and everywhere else is that thick, untouched grass just waiting to be given a chance. Here's what to do instead. Once a week, not every day, just once, shift your part slightly to a fresh spot, maybe half an inch over. This gives that overworked strip of scalp a break, and it instantly creates the illusion of more root volume, because the hair is falling in a direction it isn't used to, which naturally lifts it. Women who've tried this say it's like getting a mini volume treatment for free, using nothing but their own 2 hands and 30 extra seconds in front of the mirror. The hands-off rule. Now here's one that is going to sting a little, because I guarantee you're doing it right now without noticing. Touching your hair. Tucking it behind your ear. Running your fingers through it while you're thinking, or talking, or watching television. Smoothing it down every time you pass a mirror. It feels harmless, even soothing, but fine hair has almost no weight to it. So every single touch presses it flatter against your scalp. And the natural oils from your fingertips weigh it down even more throughout the day. Think of your hair like a souffle fresh out of the oven. Beautiful, light, full of air, standing tall and proud. Now imagine pressing your palm on top of it every 10 minutes throughout the afternoon. That's exactly what constant touching does to fine hair over the course of a day. It's not the wind, it's not the weather, it's simply us, unknowingly flattening our own volume with our own hands. So here's the swap. Style it once in the morning. Then leave it alone, the way you'd leave a fresh cake alone to set before slicing into it. If you need to fix something later in the day, use the end of a comb, not your fingers. Your hair will hold its lift 3 times longer, simply because you stopped interfering with it every chance you got. Now real quick, before we get into the next 3 tips, which honestly might be the most surprising ones in this whole video, I want to ask you something. If you've ever caught yourself doing that old middle part out of pure habit, drop a yes in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and I genuinely love hearing from you. It makes my whole week. And if this video is already making you look at your own hair a little differently, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this video reach more women just like you. Women who are tired of being told to just embrace the thinning and move on. We're not doing that here at Grace Beyond 60. We're doing better than that. Okay, let's keep going, because it only gets more interesting from here. The wash direction mistake. Here's one almost nobody talks about, and it happens in less than 5 minutes every single day without you noticing. the direction you wash your hair and actually trains it to lie a certain way over time. Most of us tilt our heads back in the shower and let the water and shampoo run straight down our scalp and through our strands. Over months and years, this repeated motion teaches fine hair to fall flat and close to the scalp, because that's simply the path of least resistance you've unknowingly built into it, one shower at a time. Instead, when you shampoo, work the product in an upward motion at the roots, almost like you're scrubbing gently against gravity instead of with it. And here's the part that surprises people the most. Do your final rinse with your head tipped slightly forward, instead of tilted back like usual. It takes an extra 30 seconds, maybe less, but it retrains the roots to dry standing up rather than plastered flat down. And you will notice the difference before you even reach for the hairdryer. The heavy conditioner trap. This next one feels like it's going against everything you've been taught for years, so bear with me here. We're told over and over that mature hair needs more moisture, more conditioning, more richness to stay healthy. And that's absolutely true, but only for the ends. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes without realizing it. Applying that same rich, heavy conditioner all the way up to the roots, the same way you'd apply it to your ends. Fine hair simply cannot carry that kind of weight at the root. It's like asking a delicate lace curtain to hold up a heavy wool blanket. It doesn't lift it, it just collapses under it. Instead, apply conditioner only from the mid-length down to the ends, and skip the roots entirely, every single time. Your scalp already produces natural oil that conditions the roots for you, free of charge. You genuinely don't need to add more on top of it. This one small shift keeps your ends soft, smooth, and healthy while letting your roots stay light, lifted, and full for hours longer than before. The downward blow-dry habit. Now here's a mistake that's almost universal, and it happens simply because it's the most comfortable, natural way to dry your hair. Bending slightly forward and blowing the dryer straight down over the top of your head, the way we've all done since we were teenagers. It feels natural, it feels efficient, but it does the exact opposite of what fine hair actually needs, because it pushes every single strand flat against the scalp while it dries, and once hair dries in a certain position, it holds that position stubbornly for the rest of the day. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple once you hear it. Flip your head upside down for just the first 2 minutes of drying, focusing the airflow directly at the roots, then flip back up the right way and finish drying the rest normally. Those first 2 minutes, upside down, are what set the entire foundation of the style for the whole day. Think of it like laying the foundation for a house before you build the walls. Get that part right, and everything you build on top of it stands taller, straighter, and stronger, quite literally. I want to pause here again for a second, because I know some of you watching are realizing you've been doing 2 or 3 of these things your entire adult life, and that's perfectly okay. None of us were ever formally taught this. We simply copied what our mothers did in front of their own mirrors, and what their mothers did before them, generation after generation, without question. If any of this is resonating with you right now, subscribe to Grace Beyond 60 so you don't miss what's coming next, because we've got so much more lined up on hair, skin, and style, all made specifically for women who refuse to just quietly fade into the background after 60. Now let's talk about the one styling tool sitting in your bathroom drawer right now that might secretly be working against you. The wrong brush bottleneck. Most women reach for the exact same brush they've used for the last decade or longer, usually a boar bristle brush or a wide, flat paddle brush, simply because that's what always worked for them in their 30s and 40s. But fine, aging hair behaves very differently than it did back then. And a brush that's too soft or too flat simply lays every single strand down smooth and close to the scalp, leaving nowhere for volume to actually go. What actually works better for this stage of life is a round brush with a vented barrel, ideally in a smaller size than you'd instinctively reach for. The smaller barrel creates far more lift and bend right at the root as you dry, giving your hair an actual shape to hold onto, instead of just smoothing it flat like the old brush did. It's a small, inexpensive swap, but it's genuinely the difference between hair that lies down all day and hair that stands up, takes notice, and holds its shape until bedtime. The tight ponytail and sleeping mistake. Let's talk nighttime for a moment, because what happens while you sleep matters just as much as anything you do each morning in front of the mirror. If you're someone who pulls your hair back into a tight ponytail or bun before bed purely out of habit, That constant tension along the exact same crease every single night actually trains the hair to weaken and thin faster, right along that line over time. And if you happen to be sleeping on a regular cotton pillowcase, the friction from tossing and turning is quietly roughing up each individual strand while you dream peacefully, none the wiser. Instead, loosely braid your hair before bed, not tight at all, just enough to keep it from tangling overnight. And if you're able to, switch over to a satin or silk pillowcase. It sounds like a small, unnecessary luxury, but it dramatically reduces the friction that breaks fine strands over time, and you'll wake up with noticeably less tangling and far more natural body in your hair, all without doing a single extra step in the morning. The flat single-tone color issue. Here's one that has nothing to do with technique at all, and everything to do with color choice. As hair thins with age, a single flat, solid color, whether it's your natural shade or a fresh dye job from the salon, can actually make hair look even thinner than it is, because there's no shadow or depth anywhere to trick the eye into perceiving fullness. Light simply bounces evenly off a completely flat, uniform color, and evenly reflected light reads as thin and sparse to our brains, whether we realize it consciously or not. What works far better instead is asking your colorist for subtle, soft dimension. A shade or two lighter woven through here, a shade or two darker woven through there, rather than requesting one flat, uniform tone all over. This creates the gentle illusion of shadow and depth between individual strands, the exact same way a skilled painter uses light and dark tones together to create the illusion of texture and volume on a completely flat canvas. Your hair doesn't actually gain a single strand of thickness, but it visually reads as noticeably fuller to every single person who looks at you across a room. The wrong length trap. And finally, let's talk about length, because this might honestly be the biggest factor of all, bigger than any product or tool we've discussed today. So many women over 60 keep their hair long simply because it's what they've always had, what they've always known, and cutting it can feel like giving something up, almost like losing a part of their identity. But long hair carries real weight. And weight is the natural enemy of volume, plain and simple. The longer and heavier your hair is, the more it pulls itself flat against your head throughout the day, no matter which products or tools you throw at it. You don't need a drastic chop to fix this, not at all. Even bringing your length up to just above the shoulder, or simply adding soft, face-framing layers through the ends, removes just enough weight to let your natural volume breathe and lift again the way it used to. This isn't about chasing youth or looking younger for its own sake. It's about giving your hair the actual freedom to do what it naturally wants to do, instead of fighting against gravity every single day of its life. Before today's final takeaway, one last small habit ties everything else together, because on its own it seems too simple to matter, yet it's what makes every tip we've covered actually stick. At the end of each day, before washing your hair away, take 30 seconds and simply notice how it fell, where it thinned, where it held. Not to criticize yourself, but to learn your own hair the way you'd learn a good friend. Because every head of hair over 60 is a little different, and the fastest way to real, lasting volume is simply paying close, gentle attention instead of repeating the exact same routine on autopilot, day after day, without ever really questioning it. So here's what I want you to take away from today, before we wrap things up. Fine hair after 60 isn't a flaw to hide, or an inconvenience to apologize for. It simply needs a different set of rules than the ones we were all handed 30 or 40 years ago. Shift your part occasionally, keep your hands off your hair once it's styled, wash and dry in an upward direction instead of down, switch to a smaller vented brush, protect your strands while you sleep at night, ask for gentle dimension in your color, and lighten your overall length just a little. None of this costs a small fortune, and none of it requires a weekly trip to the salon. It simply requires doing a handful of small, familiar things slightly differently than you've always done them. If this video helped you see your own hair in a completely new light today, do me one last favor before you go. Like this video, drop a comment below telling me exactly which tip surprised you the most, and subscribe to Grace Beyond 60, so you never miss a single video made specifically for women just like you. I'll see you in the very next one. And until then, keep shining, beautifully, unapologetically, and exactly as you are, fine hair and all.